Good evening, everyone. It is that time again, Sunday night, and it's your show, Comics to Movies and More. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, smash that notify bell. We go live each Sunday night at 10 o'clock. We talk everything comics, movies, pop culture, as well as give you some tips and hints on creating comics. So, as always, I've got my amazing co-host, Stephen. How are we? And thank you very much for filling in for me last week.
Oh, we missed you. We really did. I mean, Lucas is awesome. As Lucas is fantastic. We love Lucas. But it's not the same. It's usually we bring a guest in and we, powwow with the guest a bit. More importantly, and I know when I did the show last week, I was a little bit cryptic, mainly because it is your family, it is your life, and I didn't want to mention it on air. But I don't know how much you want to share. But look, how's everything? How's the family? How's everything going?
Well, not too bad. As you can see by this photo, my little baby Daisy, unfortunately, was admitted into hospital early Saturday morning. Ended up spending 4 and a bit days in hospital. They were very worried that she might have had meningitis, but it turned out to be just a really bad viral infection. The poor thing just before Christmas had COVID, over Christmas had a really bad case of gastro, and I think her immune system was just, shot a little bit. So she got this really bad viral infection. But she's back home. She's happy. She's safe, and I do appreciate all those people that reached out after the show last week. It was really nice to kind of get those messages. I was up in the middle of the night, so to read some of those messages while I was in hospital overnight was really lovely. So, but everything's all good, but did make me get very worried there for a short amount of time. So,
Oh, it's good news that she's better. Look, as long as you get lots of rest, uh, not just her, you as well. So we don't want you burning the candles on both ends. Like it's look, my daughter when she broke her foot, I remember I got the call from the school saying, oh, by the way, she's going to the hospital thing. I left the meeting. I was in a client meeting. I remember at the time. And I just stood up and go, you know what, guys, really, really apologize. I'll make it all up to you. I'll come back and cover, but I've got to go. And that's it. You do it.
yeah, I think when it comes to family, it's especially when they're that little. It kind of it's a little bit scary type of thing. But my wife's amazing. Yeah, she was like I thought I was sleep deprived, but she was, I think 3 or 4 nights really without any sleep whatsoever. She was looking after Daisy, so and it was great to have Lucas on the show with you. I did watch the show a little bit while I was in the hospital, so it was nice to kind of see you guys go back and forth. You're both amazing, so
Yeah.
But I'm glad
we had to pick on what's we call it? We did pick a little bit on Doctor Strange. I'm sorry. I know you like that movie, so we did pick on it a bit. But we also picked on Moon Knight. I showed because going back a bit, Lucas, you've seen Moon Knight already, so I'm not going to have you or
yes, yeah.
So Lucas hadn't seen Moon Knight before, and we were just talking at the back, going, is it worth investing the time to it? And I'm going, look, you're going to invest 6-7 hours or whatever it is to reach the end. And then Mark Spencer is going to be fighting Harold right at the end. And Harold's winning. And you're going to think this is the most exciting. What's going to happen? And just that one split second will make you will hate the series. And Lucas didn't believe me. So we played that 10-second clip. And he didn't believe it. It was like, really? That's what happens? Yep. And they said, surely they'll flash back or they'll tell you what happens. Nope.
Nope.
He just wins. How did he win?
That's so funny. Well, let's say hello to the chat. We've got Moira over in Scotland. Morning over there to you. Sazagal is there. Hi, everyone. The man himself, Lucas. Thank you. How you going? And then it seems like Lucas's stuff has started to hit the mail and people are getting it, which is kind of cool.
I've got my copy too.
You've got yours. Oh, there we go. So,
since Lucas online, I've got to mention it. I let my daughter read it before I read it, and her eye rolled. She was going, "Dad, why did you buy this? This is so lame." If that was your intent, you nailed it. It was funny. I enjoyed it, but my daughter rolled her eyes and said, "This is the lamest thing I've ever read." So. No, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I keep
I'm
reading
hoping
it.
that was his intent because if it's not, you've just insulted the hell out of him.
No. When I read, so what I do is, and Lucas, you'll love this. What I do is, I take it and I read it behind her, like so she doesn't want to hear it. I read it to her, and she just goes, "Stop it," and I just read more. So I hope that's what you're planning to do with the book because I love it. I absolutely love it. That's all I've been doing with it, reading it to her.
It is. That's what he wanted. So that's good.
Yes.
That's good. So, yeah. If I tell you what, Maurice just said she loves dad jokes. So I do these dinosaur dad jokes with Peaches, and she thinks they're hilarious. So I'm wondering whether I do a daddy dinosaur joke book. I think they're very, very lame, but I think they're fun all round, as Lucas said. So yeah.
Oh, I really loved it. My daughter cringes at it, but I think Lucas, I'm pretty sure that was your intent. So I'm 99% certain that was your intent.
Now, I know we're not here to speak about any Marvel movies tonight, and I know you touched on having a go at Doctor Strange, but
Yes.
I watched Black Panther for the first time the other night because it's on Disney. And I won't say too much, but all I will say is I feel like it was a movie that they made that they actually didn't want to tell that story.
Okay.
But they had to because of what happened to Chad.
I know because
that's the feeling that I got because I was just like there was points in it where I was just like, oh, really? Okay, yeah, I'm kind of waiting for it to, to really kick up a notch type of thing. And I was left like a little underwhelmed. And then, the end credit scene, I was like, okay. It was a little cheesy, but I was like, okay, I can see why they did that. So I won't go too much into that. I'll let people, if you haven't seen it already, see it. But I look, don't get me wrong, I didn't think it was horrible, but it was probably after the first one, it does not compare at all to the first one. But that's all I'll say about that.
Oh no, since we're touching on that, and I haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers on it. But would she have thought? And I think this is a bit sad because they've moved the character on so quickly, and you got to imagine Chadwick Boseman. Unfortunately, the actor passed away, and so they had moved the story quickly. But look at, say, a Tony Stark, which his legacy is ended, like a Robert Downey Jr. How many movies at the end game had the snap at end game. But I think that I'm 50-50 on it because I'm thinking with Black Panther, his arc didn't really finish, if you think about it. And should they have recast to at least finish that arc off? Because I know they handed over to Shuri, and look, no huge spoilers. It's actually part of the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But would they have been better to recast and at least let his story naturally end before they hand over to Shuri? Or do you think it's, by the sounds of it, the movie, they decided to do the handover without the recast? And
Yeah, and I think that's where I think it was really hard to kind of do, because their story could have had a lot more impact if they had Chad or someone play the Black Panther's character and have that handover. And because you don't really see that handover, then it becomes quite difficult to then have connection with that character, because it's like, well, there's no death scene. There's no, like, Luke's standing over his father going, oh, I have to save you. And he's like, oh, no, you already have. And then he passes away or whatever. Spoiler alert for Return of the Jedi.
That's way too late already. I think in terms of spoilers.
But so that part makes it really hard, because you don't have that connection between the two characters. In saying that, I think they tried to do it as tastefully and that as possible within the story, because like it felt like you could tell when you're writing stuff into something to make it fit. We always talk about how we write, and you're always planting seeds for like 3 issues in advance and that type of stuff. If you go back and you read the book, you'll find that this is the same as this, or there's this hidden somewhere, or so on and so forth. It makes it really difficult when you've got a character that's no longer in that film whatsoever, and as you said, you're passing the torch from one to another, and then it's kind of with the other main female character, Riri Williams. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of how, again, not how she was introduced, because I didn't mind how she was introduced, but they kind of didn't give her much of a, like, really of a backstory. So it was kind of like, oh, here's this really clever kid, and she can do X, Y, Z, and that's it. But again, where's that? Why should we care about that character? So then it makes it hard when certain things happen in the film to go, well, why would that person do that? And I don't know. I'm talking about it a lot for something that I said I wasn't going to talk about much.
Oh no, that's fine. I really do want to watch it. It's been on my list.
It's a long film. It's 2 hours and 43 minutes, I think. So it's a long film to kind of get to the end and go,
meh.
Did I like that? It's not horrible, but did where at the end of Maverick or Everything Everywhere All Once, I was just like, I want to watch that again. That's awesome type of thing. This one kind of just left me a bit meh.
We missed you with a Maverick, because I know you have been so insightful for Maverick.
I know. I was so rapt that Lucas picked that, and I was like, I can't wait to talk about it. And
we missed you for that, because there's so many things I want to push you on. Look, I love again. We'll digress. We'll come to Battle Angel Alita soon, but we'll digress because I missed the conversation with you last week. But I love the fact that they didn't even name the damn country. Where is this? Oh, it's some unnamed country that has some unnamed thing at the bottom. But we just need to go and use our planes, fly in low, hit it, and fly out. It showed how inconsequential that was to the movie, because the whole movie was about the characters. And I loved it so much that they didn't even bother naming the country.
I now know the reason. I've seen a meme, and I now know the reason why I love Maverick so much.
Shoot, go.
They have to fly low in a tunnel.
Oh, not the Star Wars thing.
Escaping anti-air turrets. I've gone, very similar to Star Wars. They have to hit a target that's only 2 meters wide, without their targeting system, so using the force or just luck.
Double exhaust ports again.
And then when they blow it up, there you go, they've destroyed the Death Star. I'm like, oh, this is why I like it. It's just a rip off of Star Wars. I thought that was quite clever, quite funny. So
Yeah. No, but in terms of beats and stuff, I know that they took a sequence from Star Wars. They stole a bit. But in terms of beats, in terms of that story, it was not Star Wars. It was also different in terms of how it all played out. And even the focuses were totally different. You had in Star Wars, you had the young Luke Skywalker trying to find his way. This one is the old guy trying to. And the one thing I absolutely loved was I can't remember, but Goose's son, and I don't know who the actor is. So if anybody in chat
Miles
knows, please.
Miles Miles
Yeah,
Tanner.
I actually liked it that what the usual trope is to make the son the hothead. You know, the one who's, you know what, I don't care what you say, I can do it better than you. That's the usual trope. To actually make him the really cautious one to go, I'm going to slow down. We're running out of time. Just go. But he's always the supremely cautious one. Won't take a risk. And I loved it. I really like if you're talking about trope subversion, something like that. I love because it played so well because it allowed Tom Cruise to still retain the, you know what, I'm here to take that risk on your behalf.
Which was
I
great,
loved it.
which then made them have that conflict because it's like, well, if you didn't take the risk, then my dad would still be here. And that where
Yeah.
where I don't take the risk and I keep the people around me safe. That's why everyone can trust me. So I loved that, and the way they dealt with Val Kilmer's character Iceman, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. Really respectful to the story, and this is where you talk about the ability of having that actor in the film to be able to, you know, kind of hand over the reins to the next people in the film. And you know, I understand like he's very sick at the moment. He wanted to appear in Willow and was unable to appear in Willow and everything. So for him to be able to do what he did, I think it was absolutely amazing, and just kind of I feel like deepens that respect between Maverick and Iceman type of thing. And I also love the fact that, you know, so many people say, oh, you've done this, like you're the best. You should be a major by now. but you still keep just messing up. Like, you know, that's why you're still a captain or so.
If you, and again, I know with like we'll spend more time about Battle Angel Alita because I love Top Gun so much, but I love the way they sent off Val Kilmer, and mainly because like they show a growth of the character. That one of his last lines to Maverick was, "So who?" I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact line, but in the end, it's who's better. Now, in the first movie, they spent the whole time yelling, arguing, they hated each other and whatever. But they showed the character growth so much that this time they asked who's better, and it's a laugh between them. It's like, you know what? Who cares? It was brilliant. It turned out to be from the it's so important, I'm better than you, more kills, blah blah blah. And in the first movie, and you know what? If I could get a better kill count than you, I would stab you in the back. It was all that rivalry. But right now, they took it as a, you know what? It doesn't matter anymore. Who's better? You know what? You can have it, you know? And then they had a laugh. And that's, as the last line before Val Kilmer's character passed away, I thought, oh man, you know, it's like, you tug the heartstrings a bit, you know? It's like character development.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. It was definitely one film that as soon as I finished watching it, I was like, I could sit there and watch that again 100%. So but let's talk about the movie that we were actually going to talk about today, which is here we go. Now, is it Alita? Is that how you Alita?
I think so.
Battle Angel?
Yeah, Battle Angel Alita.
Yeah.
What do you think about it when you saw it?
Yeah, I sort of like I haven't watched it again recently. I just unfortunately didn't have time, but I saw it when it first came out. I didn't mind it. Now, again, I haven't read any of the manga or anything like that, so I'm just taking it off the film itself, and you know, being someone that's, you know, loves their Star Wars and their source material and everything, I can understand why this seemed to get a lot of flack. But I thought the character development was quite good. It was quite interesting. It definitely left the film me wanting more, type of thing. So when I found out that you had picked this one, I did a little bit of research and found just before Christmas, the producer on this, who had been working with James Cameron on the latest Avatars, has announced that the sequel is actually already in production in regards to the script being written, and a release date should be forthcoming in the next little while as well. So, which kind of surprised me, but I love the whole idea of like the different classes. A lot of the lower classes getting subjugated and everything like that. I loved the old films, Rollerball and that with what's the Chris Pine? No, Chris.
Oh, I'm bad with actor names. I'm sorry.
Yeah, geez, I can't even think of his name. He was the one that was dating Katie Holmes for a while. But
Christopher Waltz, is it?
No.
No, that's
Rollerball.
Let me pull it up.
Comes up with the old one, not the 2002 film. There you go. It is Chris Klein.
Oh, okay.
Chris Klein. So it's a remake of an older film, but the end of this film, again, it's been out for a while, so I'm not going to ruin anything. I don't think, but that whole action sequence and everything kind of reminded me of that. So I was like, oh, that was really cool. I haven't seen anything like that for a while. That whole roller derby type of thing. So it's definitely something I'd want to go back and see again, because when I was thinking about this, I found that I got a little bit confused with Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
And that, but I definitely thought this was a decent film. I was a little bit surprised at how badly it was rated, like on Rotten Tomatoes and everything like that. It was like 54 or 60%. I thought it was like a good, 3.5, 4 stars. It wasn't, exceptional, but I was surprised that, it was. I definitely thought it was better than 2.5 stars type of thing. But I always like this idea of half human, half robot, and which part of you kind of is the more dominant part. Is it the human side and the ability to feel empathy and that type of thing, or is it the machine side and you can be cold and heartless and calculating type of thing? So I really like some of the different characters in here. It kind of goes to show, like with humans, that even with transhumans, I guess, that they are all different in their own way as well.
Yep. Look, actually, everything you said actually makes perfect sense. I've read them. I've read I think it was 9 volumes. And again, if I'm wrong, somebody's going to correct me. And there's been actually a lot of spin-offs. The main criticism from somebody who's actually watched the initial source materials, I think there was an OVA, Japanese animation from that, is they really tried to cram too much into this movie. And by doing so, a lot of the scenes which people found impactful very much glossed over. And it's adaptations are tough. And I without a doubt, I have to say Lord of the Rings is probably one, if you want adaptations to have done it right, Lord of the Rings did. Hobbit did it badly. You know what I mean? So you've got to remember
they still missed out of heaps of stuff out of Lord of the Rings, like Tom Bombadil, which is a massive part in the start of the film, was not in it whatsoever. But
I know, no, but what they did with Lord of the Rings, which I loved, is I've read the books. The 100 pages, Frodo has not left the Shire. In the first 100 pages, he's still in the damn Shire. And you're just going, if you filmed what was in the book, he'll be talking about his cow, Bilbo's party, who was invited to the party, how the cow was going to get divided up, because guess what? Bilbo's leaving, so the cow doesn't go to the first nephew. Oh, God. That's the 100 pages they haven't left the Shire. So they decided, screw all that. That's 5 minutes, and we'll get to the exciting. So, like I said, it's really, really difficult to adapt because you've got to cut out a lot of stuff. But what I felt in here was they should have jumped to the rollerball part a lot quicker, because that's one of the big focuses of the movie. And they should have put an impact to what the rollerball represents, because in this particular movie, it was just a tournament. At the end of it, again, not spoil the movie, she just raises a sword to the end going, oh, you know, I'm going to make it to the top. The upper class is next, so be warned. But beyond that, it doesn't mean anything, if you know what I mean, in terms of the whole sequence. Now, what they should have done is put that as the main impactful part. You know, skip all the initial scenes where she's trying to learn and stuff, like really just jump straight into it. Make that the impact and actually build that tournament has the ramifications. What if she won? What if she lost? And then when you play off all that, and then when she gets hunted, it's, we're hunting you, but I still need to win this tournament. If you think about it like a bit Karate Kid type thing, then it kind of links everything a lot better. Now, the source material actually does link it all together in a much longer fashion. But in this case, because there's a screen runtime, a lot of it was cut. So I can see where they were trying to get at, but I can see if you were a purist, why you would have gone, no, not interested. But I do like the concepts, and you just touched on it, and we're going to touch on something else later. But transhumanism is basically the idea that the human body is fallible, which means you can replace it. So, and what does it mean to replace certain elements of your body? And they marginally touched on it, but they didn't really go all the way for it. So I'll give you an example of where, say, transhumanism would be very interesting. So hypothetically, your eyes can see a certain color range. What happens if they give you X-ray vision? How would your life be different? You know what I mean? I mean, that's a really silly one. But if each of these augmentations that you do fundamentally changes who you are, where does the line between science and humanity end? And they touched on it very, very on the surface level. But man, they could have dived a lot deeper onto what it really takes to be human. And I think losing a bit of that focus in the movie really hurt the purist. But saying that, though, the action sequences, if you can remember them, were absolutely awesome. And
well, Robert Rodriguez that filmed it, so that was the director. So I was like, oh, it doesn't surprise me that the action scenes and everything are pretty good, and like it's got a pretty good cast as well. So it's got the guy that's going to play Blade in the new MCU.
Really?
It's got so the African American guy, he's going to be the new Blade. It's got Christopher Waltz, who is a phenomenal actor. I don't think I've seen any movie that he's been in that I haven't thought he was amazing in. So Glorious Bastards probably my favorite movie with him in it. But and the producer on this was James Cameron. So like, it had some pretty heavy hitters. I actually thought this was an older film than it was. I was surprised to know that it only came out in 2019. I actually thought it was a little bit older than that. So it's, as I said, it's definitely one that I'll go back and watch again, especially if they're going to make another film of it. But it got me interested in going, oh, should I check out the manga of it and everything? Because there's been a couple of things like the Umbrella Academy. Like I've gone back and read the graphic novels, and I've really enjoyed the graphic novels, even though I enjoyed the series. I've just gone back and read the graphic novels, and they've been fantastic. So,
Oh, definitely. And just touching base on adaptations, because this was an adaptation, and this will be my last tangent. Have you seen Sandman?
oh yeah, I loved it.
Okay, adaptation wise, perfect. Look, I've read it. I love Neil Gaiman's work. Adaptation wise, I thought it was absolutely perfect. It actually did adapt the first two story arcs very, very well. For a TV series, they didn't quite hit the mark with it because I binged it, to be really fair. I think I watched six. Then the problem that they had in terms of the season one's meant to be this whole complete arc, and what it felt when you're watching the first season, it felt like two really, really distinct stories. You had
Yes,
where Morpheus was looking, breaking out from the cell and then looking for his items of power. And then you had the second one, which is all about the Tempest. Now,
yes,
the problem when you do that is if you do it in one season, it feels very disjointed because if you know how most people plan TV seasons out, you usually have the story can develop differently, but you have usually a big bad that follows from the beginning to the end. It felt really disjointed. What they could have done, and this is where the adaptation you need to step away from being too slavish to the source material, is introduce the Tempest a lot earlier. Like she doesn't need to do anything, but introduce something about the Tempest, start dropping all the hints there. And then and you could have throwaway lines like Morpheus going, I just want my ruby back. Stuff the Tempest, not my, just like all these throwaway lines, and have it go. You know what? And even you could have Lucifer, and I love Gwendolyn Christie. She's awesome. But you could have Lucifer, say along lines, Morpheus, why are you here? I heard there's a Tempest on the loose. Shouldn't you be watching that? And then introduce Desire a lot earlier because Desire is the one who wanted to set up the whole Morpheus to kill Tempest and start the family blood thing. You could have that as flashbacks in the beginning instead of at the end. Now then you string the whole season along. It's still the two separate parts, but guess what? Half of the second part is already merged in the first part. So that when he goes on his quest, and then when it finishes off, you then have this nice complete arc, which feels that. And I know how the comics are written. They were written in two distinct arcs, which most comics, as you know now, is follow the arc format. That they want you to read each arc individually. That you don't need knowledge of the previous arc to understand the next one. But in a TV season, you have to set it correctly. And that's
yeah.
my only
They
gripe.
talk
My
about
only gripe.
yeah, no, 100%. Because you talk about those plot lines, so they're like, okay, what's plot line A, what's plot line B, and what's your overall story arc? Where this one was like, well, plot A is the first X amount of episodes, plot B is the next amount of episodes, and there's not that
Yeah,
overarching story between the two. So as an amazing as I thought it was, I have to admit when I got to that Morpheus episode, I was like, okay, well, okay, I thought there's
he's
more
got
episodes. But how did this happen so quickly? I
he got
was
all the stuff
expecting,
back. Is this it? Is that the end of the
yeah,
season?
yeah. It was really really kind of interesting because I agree with you the way you described it. I think I would really have liked it more going, and then there would have been a lot more urgency on the reasoning of why he needed to get that stuff back as well, because you're like, okay, yes, there's things that's happening in your world and that's the
Yeah,
reason why you need it, but there's also this big bad that you don't know about, that
correct.
is also, if you don't get it, is going to cause even more havoc,
Correct. They could have
type of
hinted
thing.
at all
So
the Tempest because the Tempest became this super villain. I mean, she wasn't, but a superpower that she had to deal with, and he needs his items of power to deal with her. And you just had to. the thing was, it was so easy to link up, and I was thinking, oh, you would just like, I suppose. Look, it's
You've
actually one of
ruined
my.
it for me now.
I'm sorry, but one of the favorite issues of Sandman, which I really enjoyed, it's probably the worst episode in the series. So, and I can quote numbers because I actually Sandman number 8, first appearance of Death. So Sandman's got his items of power back. He's feeling a bit despondent. So he decides, you know what? I'm going to hang around with my sister today and see how she acts. So that's the one issue, with the Sandman issue 8, which became one episode of, I can't remember the episode name, but basically she falls to death. In terms of the actual reading the issues, it was my absolute favorite issue because you read it by itself. You didn't see the either side of it. You can't. By the way, I did read previously to it, but it was an issue by itself. I love Death as the character, and it was brilliant. But in the TV series, it was the most disjointed story. That was just it felt like you shoehorned the story in that didn't need to be there because it felt like, wait, why do you have an episode where nothing happens? Why do you have an episode where he's just moping that he's got all his items back and he's bored? You don't have a character being bored in the middle of a TV arc. It's always about tension, raising the stakes, and all the rest of it. Not yet this one episode when basically nothing happens. You're just going, oh, what a shame. Because
I can understand it if you bring the character back in later, but you don't even see her again.
Exactly. She doesn't play a final because Desire was the one who set everything up. She doesn't. It's like, now will you help me? Oh, no, not my problem. Over to you, Morpheus. It was like, it was one of my favorite issues to read, and one of my it was my most hated episode in the Sandman series. But like I said, with Battle Angel Alita, with Sandman, adaptations are tough because it's different. You have to do something differently.
Would you recommend people to watch it?
Sandman and Alita, Sandman, 100%. 100%. Especially if you love the graphic novel, if you love the issues, because it is a slavish adaptation to thing. It is almost word for word, scene for scene, and I absolutely love it. But I also understand that when you adapt something, you have to adapt it for the medium, which I think that was probably my only Sandman flaw, that you didn't adapt the source material for the medium. And otherwise, I'll say it's near perfect. Otherwise, it's near perfect. If they just move things around, it's all editing. If you move things around and let it change the flow of the story a little bit, I think you've got it. There is something I want to share, and before we move on to Transhuman, it's just in regards to Aquila, and I've shared this with you already, Shaun. But if I can share this, give me 1 sec. It's never seen before artwork, so I wanted to make sure that people who watch this get to see this first. So I'm going to break the news. Not promised as part of the Kickstarter, not promised anywhere, but thank you so much for backing Aquila, that this card basically will be included in all physical rewards going out for Aquila. And first artwork that is being introduced, and this is part of Fractured Shards 3. So if it's also okay, I'm going to dump the Fractured Shards 3 in the comments. Give me a sec. So if you haven't already, please hit notify on Fractured Shard 3. Probably later this year, would you say, Shaun? Or
I don't want to give too much away,
okay.
but we're looking at doing something, if we can, around July.
Ooh, exciting.
At a very big event, if we can make it work. So, but we're just trying to find out some of the logistics and information around that before we drop it like it's hot. And so yeah.
But I'm really, really happy to announce this. So this one makes me very, very happy to announce. And we've even announced it here first, even before we updated the Kickstarter, because we know a lot of people here watches and also back our Kickstarter. So thank you very much. But we wanted to show that we always try to give a little bit more. I love this.
I do apologize that this would have been to print probably 2 weeks ago if it wasn't for my little one getting sick and everything. Like this one we had lined up, ready to go, quick turnaround, all that type of stuff. But as it does, life kind of jumps in the way sometimes, and as I said, family always comes first. So we do apologize a little bit for the delay, but we're hoping that this little extra gift will brighten your day when you get your packages. So they've go to print on Monday. So we've sent off the final files. Just waiting to get that back in regards to when we'll get it, and then I'll do another update saying when the packages will go out. So in the meantime, we are fulfilling all the digital rewards. So keep an eye out for your inbox and the update where we'll drop in the link to all the digital rewards as well.
And more importantly, those aren't my fingers. If you can see, my fingers are not as pretty. That's a very pretty hand.
I know, that's a pretty nail there. Like
they keep look. It's not your fingers, Shaun. Don't steal credit for this. It's
look how beautiful my fingers are. What are you trying to say?
You can't hand model. I'm really sorry.
Let's not talk about Dan signing things.
Oh, you did meet up with Dan. Have we shared the story or not yet?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I shared the story that Dan popped down to Melbourne to surprise me. So we went to the local pub, which was very nice, and caught up over a few beers and talked fractured shards. A lot of plans that he's got for the future, and he was trying to convince me to head over there for my birthday in May to a heavy metal concert. He's got some VIP tickets, and I was like, if I leave to go to a heavy metal concert in another country, I'll come back divorced. So he's still working on me. I get a message every now and then going, have you convinced your wife? And I'm like, no, I haven't. So
didn't he invite you to Metallica, if I remember right? And you
so this has got it is an amazing lineup. It's like Korn, Metallica, Slipknot, System of the Down. Geez, I can't even think of all the ones off the top of my head. There was just so many. I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like, we'll be lucky to get, say, 2 or 3 of those to a really good event, and they're all at once. So, but yeah, it's a little way to go, and it's in Las Vegas, so it's like party central and a little bit of trouble sometimes.
I don't think you'll win that argument, though. That's
no. I'm a smarter man. I've been married long enough now to know that there's some arguments that are just not worth fighting, and 100% that is one of them.
And I just want to share this one as well. If you want to know the full panel where the card came from, this is it. And I love the coloring on this. This is when you finally get to read Fractured Shards 3, this is my favorite panel.
I gotta say, the colors on this have been phenomenal. Where all of the last couple of ones have been bright, blues and pinks and everything like that. This one's got a lot of oranges, yellows, reds, greens. Like it's been nice to have like a very different color palette to kind of play with, and this volume I'm really excited about this volume. So it's practically all done, just needs to be lettered, and we've kept a couple of pages to the side to kind of have that cool drawing reward again for some people. So make sure you keep an eye out for this this Kickstarter, because it's going to be a mammoth one, I reckon. So
yeah, look, I've been loving this. I'll be the first one to actually read the first complete story when I finish lettering it, and I'll pass it straight to you guys to have a read. I love it. I love, and I'm going to spoil it. I love the writing 4 more than 3, because 3 is very much a setup, and 4 actually something. 4 is again Dan's idea, but 4 is something major happens. Not that nothing happens major.
What I love about 3 is like we have one character in it that was supposed to be a throwaway character, and like Abigail has turned into like this whole beast in itself type of thing. Like you even had to rewrite a little bit because of the ending to factor in certain things. So yeah, I really like this. But 4, I think we're about 10 or 15 pages into volume 4 as well. So, super excited to kind of, get these moving along quicker. And then we've got an amazing backer on Aquila that did the Create Your Own graphic novel. So that's going to be another spin-off graphic novel within the Fractured Shards universe. So we're just reaching out to set up a time to talk and work through some ideas of what that backer is thinking, which is kind of really cool to be able to do another graphic novel within the same universe as well.
Oh, awesome. Look, we've probably got 10 minutes to go, and I do have big news as well, if you're okay for me to share this.
Definitely.
About an hour ago, and most of you on the chat already, I've seen. Thank you for your support. I've launched Transhuman Volume 2. So this one, look, whenever you launch something, you're half nervous, you're half excited. And every time you see me look away, I'm probably hitting F5 to refresh the page that I have. Let me share it up first.
I've already done it. Share it for you, mate. I'm on it. I'm on it.
There you go. Let me bring it up. Give me a sec.
It's kicking butt, man. It's kicking butt.
Oh, look. A lot of these things you don't know how it goes usually really well to start off with, and it's just because everybody who listens or backs, they're just so awesome. Look, just to know you guys are supporting it makes me very, very happy. Let me just bring up the campaign. Yeah, so this is it. It's been up now for just over an hour now, and oh man, as soon as it funds, if I go to sleep, I wake up tomorrow morning and it's funded. I am happy as Larry. And Moira, I just give you your number. You're number 3. So thank you so much for your support. Lucas beat you to it. Lucas was number 1. So if Lucas is still there, thank you, Lucas. But yeah, like it's just, you guys are just so amazing. Just in terms of the story though, look, I've really enjoyed this very much, because in the first story, the way I write most stories is I write volume 1 to be very much self-contained, so that it has an ending, mainly because I usually don't know whether I'm going to pick up on the start of volume 2 or continue the story. But with this one, although Transhuman 1 ended with Rivka finally getting over some of her fears, for me, it didn't really end. So for me, we've got a new artist on board. So his name is Raz, and Raz also did the artwork for Night. So I'm really, really happy. One thing I did, which is slightly different, was I actually went through with more variants. So it's one of the things which I really enjoy doing is I get to play along with a whole bunch of different artists. So that's where I think I can't use all of them in the series, but they get to be used as variant covers. So Abri, who was on earlier, provided this one. And I tried to make the variants all very, very different. This is Elena. It is not safe for work covers, but it's censored. But in terms of the story itself, it does follow on from where I left off in volume 1. So we're still talking about cybernetics and how the human race is starting to change. But at the heart of it, it's still very much a human story. So you've got, and I'll zoom in a little bit, you've got these scientists who are constantly talking about humanity as, the cybernetics, very much in terms of oh, here's a new feature. Oh, here's what we can do. But the crux of the story is still very much people's humanity. It's how has this changed people? How is it? And in terms of action sequences as well, it's all there. So I do like stories which have a little bit of action sequence. The prologue is done by the Lee Sands, who was the original artist in Volume 1. And he's done his art very, very different here. But I absolutely love it. It's the stuff he's done here is absolutely amazing. The other thing I tried to do in this one is, and there are two different versions. There is a not safe for work version, but I've split it out different. So all the variant covers are not safe for work, but all the main covers are absolutely fine. Mainly, it doesn't take away from the story, the additional pages, but it does show a lot of humanity. It's I'll show you a quick sneak preview. It is censored for Kickstarter though, so I'll just give a quick slip through. And this is basically the creative team. I'm using my usual avatar, and it's a bit of fun. But there's
need to update that, mate.
Nah, I like it. I do like it. You have the standard digital rewards, print versions, sketches, artwork, sketch tiers, and custom sketch tier. The other thing I've started doing is, and this is something Shaun and I both love, is add-ons. So I started doing, if you want additional cards or print, it's easy enough to add on to those. The other thing would be is I've also included some, and what I always do is, and which I really enjoy doing, is I like to give out digital issues, which I haven't, some of it I've given out in the past, like XCT Most Wanted, but I always try to include some digital issues I've never ever sent out before. Like In Fairy is the first time has ever been included in any of my digital bundles. And as far as the first stretch goal goes, Lily the Demoness 1 and 2 are also included as part of when the stretch goals hit. So these are digital issues that if you've been a backer that has supported all the way through, you still get digital issues. I'm going to pop up one comment from Moira. There are no drawn-in rewards this time, mainly because I wanted to take this to print as quickly as possible. But Moira, I think I've shared this with you. I've already drawn you in. So there isn't a drawn-in reward, but you're in this universe already. You've been, and I'll send you a sneak peek. I'm pretty sure I've sent you the sneak peek already, because you're already included. I could not do one where you're not part of the world. I couldn't. It doesn't make sense. And Shaun will back me up with this. It doesn't make sense if a Moira character does not exist in any of these comics. So you've already been drawn in.
If we ever get any of our stuff made into TV series, she'll need to be like one of those, like, spot the person in the background. She's in every single film, type of thing.
She'll be our Stan Lee, basically. The one who just pops in. So we have just showing you there's different prints, sketchwork. A lot of the original art here. This was the cover for the variant cover for issue 1.
I do like how you do the variant covers in that sketch style, the really pencil original style. I know that you did that on, I think, volume 2 of Terra Olympus as well.
That is correct.
And it looked really, really nice. I think it's nice to, I love my full colors and everything like that, but it's nice to have something different and a little bit more subtle, and kind of enjoy just the art of a real good sketcher. However, then the artists you got on these look absolutely fantastic. So,
look, and I do like to try to push the envelope a little bit. So in terms, And I think that's where you can have a bit of fun with variant covers that you can't have as much fun as the internals because it's much more sequential. You're bound by a lot more rules and all the rest of it. But with variant covers, it's knock yourself out. If you want to, the great thing about variant covers as well, which I always say, it doesn't have to follow the story. Now, with all main covers, you try to at least make it link to the main story in some respect. With variant covers, it's like, you know what? Do what you want. As long as it looks cool, we're happy to include it. I know we haven't played the video. I'm more than happy to play it, but I have to say, I just give me 1 sec. I made the video. It's not the best. So I want to apologize in advance when I do show the video because I'm not a absolute whiz with videography. So all I can say is I'll play it, but yeah, just bear with me and please don't be too cruel. Because Shaun, I know you arrange amazing videos. So let me pop this one. I know you've seen better videos, but that's mine. What do you think?
No comment. No, 43% funded, man. That's awesome. So, for me, the only thing that I always say about videos is that, and I've said this to you before, is that, a lot of people back you because you are the creator and you do amazing stuff. So, and you've been on this show long enough to be able to do like just a 5-second thing of, hi, I'm Stephen, creator of Transhuman. Let me introduce blah, blah, blah. So that would be all I would say. It's just like, because I know even with the ones I do for the 13th Labor, David, like he hates being on camera and everything, so we've set it up that it's literally not even 5 seconds of him on camera, and then the rest is just voiceover stuff. But it looks fantastic. I think the concept and the story is great. I really enjoyed the first volume, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes, and I will be jumping on as well. So,
thank you. And look, and I just pop up one more comment. I know Mora's back already. Sazigal, thank you so much for your support as well. You guys are all awesome. So that's all I can say. And I'm going to sleep very anxious tonight, but hoping when I wake up tomorrow morning, I can just rest easy for the next 30 days. I want campaigns when I'm not stressed. I have to fully admit, I haven't had a campaign yet where it's just been, meh, you guys are so awesome. I'm just going to, sleep it through. It's never happened. It's always...
Wordsmith? Your last Wordsmith, you weren't like that?
Yeah. I'm always nervous. And it's always, refresh, just make...
But you did amazing on that project.
Even Fractured Charts, even though with Dan and seeing it do well, you're still always nervous because I suppose because there's always backer retractions and stuff like that, and if you you just never know. And for me, until it crosses that line, you just always that mess of nerves. So I don't know. I don't know how you feel when you do yours, but for me, it's until it finishes. And the minute it finishes is actually probably the most relief I get that it's done, it's dusted, and you can actually go to production mode.
Yeah, I think that launch is always scary. No matter how many times you do it, I think that when you hit that launch button, it's kind of like, okay, you know, I'm hoping that I get a couple of backers tonight, and in the first hour or the first couple of hours or whatever. I think once I've hit my target, I'm pretty kind of good, but I think with, like, for example, for night, it was the first time where we'd gotten over a certain amount, and then we dropped under the certain amount, then we got back over the certain amount, then we dropped back under the certain amount, then we got over the certain amount again. And I was just like, oh my god, this is just like absolutely doing my head in. So I think that is where it becomes really, really stressful if you're able to, and this is why we always say, if you're able to back early, it really helps us, because once we get up and over that initial goal, then it does kind of take off a little bit of that stress to go, okay, at least I know that I've made, this to put towards the project in regards to how much we've paid for production or whatever. So yeah, but I think there's always a little part there in you that's always like, oh, is this going to be the project that doesn't quite make it? Is this the one that's but
Oh, I know. I don't think that would ever change. I want it to change, but it, it's always that nervousness, which I suppose is good because it shows that you still care about it. You're still passionate about it. So I think that the day I'm not nervous, it's the day I think I've lost a little bit about the passion. You want it to succeed.
oh, that's a big yeah.
Otherwise, look, I think we've hit our time. And look, thank you everybody who is tuned in. Any last words, Sean?
I don't know whether I want to drop an announcement tonight, or whether I wait until next week.
It's up to you. The floor's yours, buddy.
I think I might wait until next week. If you want to hear an amazing XCT announcement, I know that I've been a little bit quiet on XCT, and I've spoken a little bit about trying to get it made into a TV series and everything. But next week, I think I might let everyone know exactly what's been happening with XCT and what you can expect from this year. Because once this news drops, it's going to be quite a fast thing. XCT is going to blow some minds in the next 12 months, but we'll leave that until next week, and hopefully we're going to have a special guest on next week. I know Stephen's spoken to this person. I've spoken to this person, so we're hoping to be able to get that person online with us next week. So
I'm actually really excited because we're going to cover a topic we've never covered before, which I'm actually really excited to.
Yeah, celebrity chasing.
I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah. So that'd be awesome. Again, guys, thank you again for watching our show. As always, we go off a little bit on tangent. So I know we'll talking about Attila, but we've spoken Alita. But we spoke about Maverick and into Sandman and everything in between. But we appreciate you watching the show. If you can like, subscribe, share this out, that also helps us get our brand out there. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great week, and until next time, stay safe.